We want to, first of all, in addition, of course, that we have tremendous Shevach V'Hodoya, we have tremendous thanksgiving and praise to Almighty God that we are worthy to have such a beautiful event take place today. And we want to thank everybody, the Young Israel New Hyde Park, Mrs. Klein for all the work she's done, and all the help. And good to see you, Bobby. And all the folks here who came to share in this tremendous simcha. I want to thank, even though he's not here, Rabbi Teitelman. He's been really very helpful, and thank the Moyle and everybody. Thank all the friends and family who are here. It's a tremendous blessing. We're counting now the Omer and the Kabbalah. In the Kabbalah, you have each week of the Omer, and each day of each week represents a different idea. And we're already now in the sixth. We counted 5 weeks. We're into the 6th week already. That we're counting from Passover to Pentecost. And it's a tremendous thing, because each of these different aspects that we commemorate and we're seeking to rectify during these days are represented by one of the weeks. And the 6th week is actually connected to the concept of the Bris, the place of the Bris. And this, the 3rd day of this week, being the day of Tiferes Shabi Yisod. Bris is the Yisod, the foundation. Tiferes means beauty, and to have such a beautiful Bris here on Tiferes Shabi Yisod on this day is a tremendous thing. It's also a tremendous spiritual rectification. Also, we're reading about Parshas Mekukosai. We're going to read this week in the Torah. It says, I'm going to make you stand upright. Similarly, this term komamius, which means to stand upright, to live an upright life, is what Leviticus is telling us there. The message there is also, komamius is related to the Aramaic word for the bris, which is kayama. Again, and those who teach homiletic teachings make that connection between komamius and kayama, that we're standing upright. And how do we stand upright? By keeping the promises, by being true to the promises that have always been through history. Can you imagine, all the way from Father Abraham, the great patriarch, all the way through, we can go through all the history that brought us this day. Aaron, the high priest, who Bobby is a descendant from, and from the Zayda's side, that we're here in the shul where the Zayda davened every day for years and years. And not only he davened here, but he was an Ish Chesed. The baby has the name after him, Baruch, and he has his father's name, Yitzchak. And we remember also Uncle Dave, so we have the name David. We bring it all together, and the Zayda's family goes back to great rabbis in Hungary, the Chengerov, the Krulerov, Oibenush, and back to other parts of Europe, to Belgrade, there was the chief rabbi, and we go back to Germany, to Koblenz, and to Worms, and to Czechoslovakia, to Prague. So we go to the great Chavis Yoyer and the Maral Me Prague, all the Zaydas of this baby, all of these great and holy men and women. The Chavis Yoyer, right? He named his sefer Chavis Yoyer after his grandmother Chava, also who wrote tremendous books and was a tremendous holy woman. And that line of the Maharal goes all the way back to King David. So all of this lineage and all culminating in many places all over the world. So we're also, it's not a culmination, it's only continuing, and that we had that torch to bear that's been passed down all the way from Abraham, and now that we're here and that we fulfilled this mitzvah of the bris, we're passing that torch on, and we're ensuring the Tiferes Shabi Yisod, we're ensuring that komamius, that uprightness, which is the kayama, which is the bris, the covenant, keeping our promises, and all the blessings that come from keeping the covenant of peace and happiness and prosperity that all come through this. That we're here, it's just the same, just as holy as when we brought a sacrifice in the ancient temple, maybe even a little more so, because we all come together and we can bring that holiness everywhere. I'm reminded when we talk of the Bris, there was a story that took place in Hungary, that there was a man who wanted to convert to Judaism, and in those days it wasn't so simple to convert to Judaism. You had to get permission to make, he wasn't circumcised, had to make a bris. If you're circumcised already, it's a little bit easier. But he wasn't circumcised, he wanted to convert, and so they had to get permission from the government in Hungary to perform the bris. And it's and so they were worried they wouldn't get the permission, so they went to Chassam Sofer, Rabbi Moses Schreiber, and they asked him, he said, just make the bris anyway. Don't worry about getting the, don't worry about, very nice. Don't worry about getting the permit, just do it. So the man, he had the circumcision done, he was a grown man, when he was bleeding to death. They went back to Chassam Sofer and said, what should we do? Here he's going to bleed to death. The Chassam Sofer said, not only you should go over the Danube River and drown yourselves, not only the man who wanted to convert, but the moil also, because it's going to look so bad for the whole community that we made this bris without permission, and now we're in trouble. So you should just end your lives. Because why? Because you're going to cause more deaths, because there's going to be a pogrom or whatever if you're alive. So you're at this point it's like you're attacking the whole community. So they were ready to do it. They went over, they brought some big rocks, and they were going over to the river to drown themselves. An old man came by holding a bag. He said, what are you doing? And they said, he said, wait a second, what's going on here? He said, well, this man, he's bleeding to death from circumcision. He said, oh, he is? You know what, I'm an expert moel, and I have a special powder we're going to apply to it. It's a clotting powder. It's going to stop the bleeding. It's going to live. He said, really? And they did it. And then when he disappeared, they realized it was Elijah the prophet. So they went back to Chassam Sofer and they said, if you could bring us Elijah the prophet, why did you do it? Why did you have to put us through all of that? Send us to the river and all that? He said, I couldn't bring you Elijah the prophet like that, but you brought him yourselves with your self-sacrifice and your dedication, that you were willing to even give up your life for the sake of other people and your care for other people, that you were willing to have self-sacrifice. That's the whole message. The Memorial Day, that's the whole idea of Memorial Day. People willing up to give up for other people. It's a special day. Yesterday was my parents' anniversary also. So it's so many things coming together. In this way, by being dedicated to that ideal, yesterday was Memorial Day. And Memorial Day, it was originally Decoration Day, which was instituted after the Civil War. I lived in the South for a while. And there was a story that there was a Union general. He led his platoon out to fight, and one of his soldiers shot a young man, a Confederate soldier. They came up and they saw, and the general looked down, and he saw it was his own son that his men had shot and killed. His son, he wanted to be a musician. He wanted to go to musical conservatory, and he went somewhere down south to music conservatory to become a musician and composer. And here he shot his own son. Now the father wanted to give for his son full military honors. This was his son, and all the commanders said, "You can't do that. This is an enemy." He said, "Yeah, but it's my son. I want to give him these honors." He said, this is what we'll agree. Instead of having a three-piece band like was traditional at that time, you can have one musician, you can have one bugler, and you can play a few notes, and that will be the message that will be for the son. That'll be how the honors. That more honors than that we can't get. So what happened? So the father wanted to know what kind of music are they going to play, and he went into his son's pocket and found a few notes scribbled on a piece of paper, a few simple notes. And he said, "This is what we're going to play at the funeral." And ever since then, this song that this young man composed is known as Taps, has been played at American military funerals and Memorial Day and so forth ever since the Civil War. I think the message in this story is really similar to everything what we've been saying to this point. You know, the willingness to give over for someone else and the desire for peace and the brotherhood of all mankind. You know, throughout history, people might have disagreements, but the Talmud tells us that God made one man and one woman, Adam and Eve. Why? To teach that no one is better than anyone else. No one could say my parents were greater than your parents, because we all have the same parents, Adam and Eve. It's that same message of that torch bearing, and that's the hope that we have for the future. That whatever differences there are in the world, we can overcome. We can realize that we're all brothers and sisters. We're all one family. And that's the beauty of this event now, that people, family and friends, near and far, are all gathered together for such a thing. There's no greater Tiferes Shebiyasod. There's no greater glory of the foundation that this day represents, and there's no greater memorial, and there's no greater continuance, and there's no greater standing upright, komemius, and fulfillment of the covenant than this. And in this way, we're wishing blessings on everybody who's sitting here. They should all be blessed with so many goodness and happiness, prosperity, healing, long lives, and nachas and simchas, and especially the rachanimel, that this beautiful little baby should be blessed to grow as we traditionally wish. Torah, the chuppah, the masim tovim, they should grow up in dedication to the Word of God, and to grow up to be married and do good deeds and live a long life and bring grandchildren and great-grandchildren to Rachel and to my parents, and Bubby she should see already his children. She could be a great-great-grandmother also. And Bubby look beautiful and wonderful today. And it's a tremendous simcha to have you here. And thank you very much. I'm sorry I spoke so long. All right, simcha.